to Bible study number 44, which is so crazy. I know I say that like every time, but the fact that I've filmed 44 of these and I'm still not confident, but I'm going to be obedient because I just do not want to see God one day and he is like, I've been telling you to do that Bible study. He didn't ask me to be confident. He just asked me to be obedient. So here I am. So we're going to go over Job 14, and Job 14 is actually pretty short. I don't have a whole lot to say about Job 14, but we'll talk about it briefly, and then I have a couple of discussion questions, and then that'll be it. This will probably be like one of the shorter ones unless I decide to ramble. So let's pray and then we'll get started. God, I just thank you for everything that you are doing for us. I thank you for just allowing us to have a sense of community, allowing us to just be here in your presence, Lord. I just pray for each and every person that's tuning in. I pray that whatever struggle that they are going through, that they know that they can always count on you. They know that they can always depend on you to navigate through whatever situation that may be, Lord. And I just pray that you just help us to understand that there's a lot of things that go on in this world that we will never be able to understand with our human brains, and we have got to rely on you more than we're relying on ourselves, as uncomfortable as that may be, Lord. And I just pray that you just help us to stand in confidence, not to just talk about having faith, but actually to live by that. Just to remember and recite your scriptures every single day, to stand on those scriptures every single day, to have faith as small of a mustard seed so it can move mountains through you, Lord. And I just pray that you just help us to just trust in your plan, trust in your purpose, especially for people who are type A like myself, who feel like we gotta know every single plan, and just help us to just give everything to you and to trust in you and to really, really, really live by faith, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. And I thank you, I honor you, I praise you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Y'all, just sidebar, like I feel like life has been lifing, obviously, in my prayer, just trying to trying to let God take the lead, and not just like, I feel like I say like, oh, I'm gonna let God take the lead, but like actually letting him take the lead is uncomfortable. Like, if I'm just being real, and maybe I'll talk about that one day. Letting God take the lead is just so uncomfortable sometimes. Just not, the unknown is uncomfortable, and it's just very hard for me because I'm type A, and I'm just very like, I gotta have a plan. I have the A, B, C, D, E plan, and I've got a backup plan for the plan that I originally had, you know. And when God's plan is totally different than any of your plans, it's like, now wait a minute, we didn't talk about this. Like, it gets really stressful for me. And I'm sure other people can relate, but I will talk about that on another video because I feel like that's really relatable. But for now, let's get into Job 14. So in the beginning, it talks about mortals born of women are a few days and full of trouble. So to me, that pretty much means like life is short, life is hard. So we'll focus back to, let's go to verse 5. A person's days are determined. You have decreed the number of his months and have set limits he cannot exceed. So look away from him and let him alone till he has put in his time like a hired laborer. So in my opinion, it just means like God determines the amount of time that you'll be on this earth. Like we all kind of know, like everybody's days are numbered. Nobody knows how many years, months, seconds we have left on this earth. But God sets that amount. So in verse 7 through 11, it seems like Job is pretty much comparing like a tree to human life. And he's pretty much like, there's parts of a tree that may die. Its roots may grow old in the ground and its stumps die in the soil. Yet at the scent of water, it will bud. And put forth shoots like a plant. So in my opinion, it kind of means, or it seems like he's talking about like there's different parts of a tree that may die, that may live. Well, if parts of a tree die, the other parts of it still may live. But with humans, it's just like, that's it. that man dies and is laid low. His breath, he takes his last breath and is no more. So it seems like he's kind of comparing nature to human life, and just almost like he feels like nature stands more of a chance than humans do with God. And so that's all I took for there. So if we go to verse 16 through 20, it says, "Surely then you will count my steps, but not keep track of my sin. My offenses will be sealed up in a bag. You will cover over my sin. But as a mountain erodes and crumbles, and as a rock is moved from its place, as water wears away stones and torrents wash away the soil, so you destroy a person's hope. You overpower them once and for all, and they are gone. You change their countenance and send them away. If their children are honored, they do not know it. If their offspring are brought low, they do not see it." So there's a whole bunch of different things in this, but in the beginning, verse 16 is like Job doesn't want God to keep track of his sin. Job is pretty much like, I'm over suffering. But Job also is kind of talking about how he feels like there's no mercy. Like he kind of feels like humans just go through it on this earth and there's no mercy. He's just pretty much over it. And it seems like it's kind of at this point getting a little redundant, where Job is just kind of like he's had enough. He's gone through enough. He's not understanding why humans are going through these things. If you give nature chances, and why are humans just withering away? And it just seems like he's really at the point where he's kind of questioning God. Like he's not understanding, and so he's trying to get his questions answered. He's trying to ask God for more. He's trying to figure out what's going on. So in chapter 13, it was more so like he was questioning his friends, and kind of like he don't want to hear from them. He just wants them to be silent. He's sick of them. He's over them, whatever. And then it seems like 14 is kind of like more directed towards God. I know he started to transition in 13. He did. He started to transition in 13, directed more towards God. But then 14 seems like it's more so about God, in my opinion. If you guys think something else, feel free to let me know. I have no problem with hearing different people's perspectives. But yeah, I feel like 14 is super short, so I'm not going to drag it. But I do want to say, it seems like Job is really wanting forgiveness from God. And do you ever feel like there are moments where you're really wanting forgiveness from God? And I would say for me, I think that, yes, I think that there's a lot of times where we may do things and it just doesn't make sense to me. A lot of times that God is like so forgiving. And obviously God knows like your heart. He knows if you're saying you're sorry and you're really not sorry. He knows if you say you're sorry, you're going to do the same thing like 5 minutes from now. But I think that sometimes it is hard to just think about like the fact that God is a forgiving God. God gives us grace. God gives us mercy. And I think that that's just hard to think about. Like it's hard to fathom, because I think that from a human's perspective, we don't necessarily operate like that. Like people may do things to us and we're kind of like, all right, we'll forgive you, but we don't forget about it, And I don't think God forgets about things either, obviously. Like he knows everything. But I think that his love for us is just so powerful. It overpowers everything. And the closest thing I can think of is just when your children do something that wasn't quite right and they want forgiveness, you're not going to just like remind them of all the things that they've done wrong every single time because of the love that you have for them. And that's the closest relationship I can kind of think of, that you're not going to hold them accountable for every single thing, because like your love for them and you care for them, and you want to forgive them because you want them to, flourish and do the best that they can be, the best that they can be. And just when it talks about Job wanting forgiveness from God, that's just my thoughts on that. And then it seems like Job's tone kind of changes, because initially, and I kind of spoke about this in the last video, is that Job was initially kind of like calm and, I guess I wouldn't say like super calm, because, given his circumstances, but he was kind of more chill with his friends. And then he got to a point where he was like over them. I'm going to silence them. I don't want them to talk and all this stuff. So he's kind of at a point where he's really angry. And you know what? Now that I sit here and think about it, it kind of reminds me of like when I go through different trials in my life. I feel like in the beginning, it's kind of like, okay, this is rough, but I'm going to get through this. But then after, like, if God allows it to continue to happen for like weeks, then months, then years, it's like, okay, God, the longer that you go through whatever that trial may be, the more difficult it is. It's to the point where you may snap and you have moments with God that you're just like, what did I do to deserve this? And I feel like that in my current season, with what I'm going through, is just like, I just feel like it's kind of like, okay, God, how long are you going to let this go on? And so I feel him. Like, I understand, like, as much as I can in my current situation. Like, I understand like how he's feeling, where he's kind of like, okay, God, like, how long is this going to go on for? He's at the point where of frustration. And I want to get to a point, just in my spiritual journey, I want to get to a point where when things go wrong, I don't get frustrated. I think I'm getting a little bit better with not getting frustrated immediately. But if the test or whatever it is, the trial, whatever it is that I go through, lasts longer than I feel like it should last, I still want to remain in character. And I've been listening to a lot of different sermons that pretty much talk about when you go through things, you will see how much God is in you when you're going through those things. Like, basically, it's easy to be a Christian when life is going well, but when life isn't going well, you'll see who you truly are will come out, because you're so frustrated and you're so overwhelmed. And so who you truly are will come out. So either it's going to be them scriptures that's going to come out, or it's going to be them curse words that's going to come out, And so I just want to make sure that I am remaining in faith, remaining in scriptures, standing on the word, no matter what life is looking like. And it's tough. And I will say, I definitely feel like I'm a type person, like in the beginning of the trial, I may be able to stay like calm, like, okay, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. I think it depends on exactly what the test may be, if I'm just being 100% honest. But I try to be calm, but when I feel like it's lasting longer than I would like, or lasting longer than I'm comfortable with, then it's like, God, like, what are we doing? And I just had a conversation like this with God. Like, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, where I'm just like, okay, God, like, what, I know you think I'm strong and all, but like, what are we doing? How much longer is this going to last? Like, so, I just feel like Job is at that point. Like, it started off like, okay, this is really a lot. But he was kind of depressed and he was kind of like overwhelmed and stuff, but he still was like, his presentation was different. Now he's just like, he is over it. He's fed up. He is just like, look, he's fed up with his friends. He want to talk to God. His tone is just a little different to me. Just what are y'all's thoughts on Job's referencing like God's anger, and how like he is pretty much feeling like how he keeps referencing God's anger and almost like being afraid of God. And what I will say is the Bible talks a lot about God's wrath, and to be honest with you, I don't want to be a part of God's wrath, because as you read some of the stuff in this Bible, it's like, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm scared of God's wrath. Like, I'm not interested. Like, I have zero interest. And so I think he's legitimate in referencing God's anger. I don't think God is intending for us to be afraid of him. Like, I think we should fear him, like, because he is powerful. He knows everything and stuff like that, but not fear him in a way like we feel like we can't come to him because we're so fearful. I don't think that that's his intention. He wants us to come to him. He wants us to talk to him. He wants us to feel comfortable with him with all of our concerns. And I think it's okay to come to God and be like, look, God, I don't understand why this is happening. Because I do that all the time. Like, look, I don't understand why this is happening. And what am I missing? Like, what am I missing? So that's really all I have. Like I told y'all, 14 is really short. Didn't really have a whole lot to say about 14. So we'll continue to work our way through Job. Job is actually 42 chapters. So we'll continue to work our way through it, and then we'll pick another book and go through that. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Please drop your comments and stuff. And also too, if there's a book that you want me to go over after we finish Job, let me know and I will do that as well. If not, then I will wait till God lets me know what he wants me to go over. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye, y'all.